The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so thrilled to have on the show founding member of NSYNC. He's singer, songwriter, producer, actor, and he's got a podcast. Chris Kirkpatrick, thanks for coming on the show, man.
You're welcome. Actor.
I don't know. You know, we were talking before we came in, man. You know, you've been on a number of TV shows, films, and also the voice in Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, voiceover work, that's tough. Like voiceover work, you got to remember, you're talking and you're acting with no one there. You're just in the booth by yourself and you're trying to make all these actions and make it look like you're talking to someone, and that was the hardest. Like acting, I have done a little bit, but voiceover, that's really tough.
You're incredible at it, though. And also, I got to bring up, Trolls, and then I kind of felt like you're also in Deadpool. And
I
Wolverine,
feel like we were in
because,
Deadpool.
you know, NSYNC song in the whole beginning.
Yeah, which is my favorite. I mean, it's one of those things where, we were watching, we got to go to the premiere, and we were sitting there at the premiere, and right before we went in, I think Ryan or somebody said, just wait, it's the whole opening. And I was like, come on, like I knew it was gonna be something cool in there. I thought it'd be a fight scene. And it's the whole opening, and watching it, I'm just slapping JC on the back of the head, just like, this is insane.
And he's doing a dance to your song. And then, my favorite part of this, though, Chris, you got to share it too, to where, Ryan, direct messaged you, DMs you, and then Blake Lively is like staring at you.
Yeah. Well, Blake Lively's been a fan for a long time, and she is absolutely a dream. Like, she's just so amazing, and to be a part of her life, like that was like so flattering. And it was just like, man, like her and Ryan are like the ideal American couple. Like they're perfect. Guys all want to be Ryan and girls all want to be Blake.
But NSYNC is a part of this.
I still want to be Ryan.
You're pretty cool on your own. I got to bring this up too. Name Drop.
Yeah.
It's in its second season, so I've been hooked on watching and listening to the episodes. And you and your buddy Brian have a good time, and you guys have known each other since the MTV days. 20-something years ago.
And it's fun too, because here we are doing like right now we're doing an interview, and it's like we want to talk about the podcast, you want to talk about certain things you want to talk about, but on our podcast it's basically just we'll talk about those things if you want to promote anything, but more importantly, let's get some stories, and let's get some stories you don't tell when you're talking about promoting things, or talk about when you're growing up. Encounters you have with celebrities. And we have a little bell that we ding every time you
Which I love. That's what I told you before we came in here. It's like, I need a bell for that, because then every time you say a name, it's like ding. So every time we say Ryan Reynolds, it's like ding, ding.
Right. Well, and even like telling that story, you tell these stories and you feel kind of weird about it. You feel icky, like, oh, I am sitting here name dropping. But when Brian and I came up with the concept, we were on my back porch just talking, and we both looked at each other like, God, we're like dropping names like they're going out of style. And we're like, that's it, name drop. We'll talk about names. So it gives everybody carte blanche. And once we tell whoever we're interviewing right away, listen, we want you to drop names. We have some people that are just like, oh, let's go. And they started going. Some people you still have to pull it out of them because they're shy about it. But for the most part, people are ready.
Well, and you and Brian have such a chemistry on the show too, and watching and listening to it, it's just fun. And you have fun with the people you bring on. But also, Chris, I mean, you guys move in those circles. So I don't think it's really name dropping if you're not saying it to impress somebody. It's just like going, yeah, you were at the opening for Deadpool.
Well, that's the fine line. Yeah, that's the fine line you get to.
It's not like icky. You know what I mean?
Is it? Because I mean, I've met Ryan Reynolds, but I don't really know Ryan Reynolds enough to be like, oh yeah, well, my buddy Ryan Reynolds. You know, it's like, so when you say it or you talk about it, it is, no matter what it is, I think if you say somebody's first and last name, that it's an automatic drop.
You ring a bell.
Yeah, because you have to ring a bell, because you're like, I don't go, well, I was with my buddy Ryan, and it's like,
but also
I was with Ryan Reynolds.
But it's like, it's just like with the interview stuff though. You meet a lot of people that are acquaintances and you interview them and stuff, but then it's different when you have your friends. With
or
those
talking
circles.
to who you're talking to, and when you say the wrong thing, or I've got a 6-year-old and we do sports with my kid all the time, and so I'm friends with all the parents, and sometimes I feel like I just need to shut up because I don't know what I'm saying right now. Or if somebody else brings up something like, oh man, so we went to this Justin Timberlake concert the other day or something like that, and you just zip it. You're like, yeah, that's cool. You know, you don't know what to do.
Well, speaking of which, I got to bring up also your tour with Pop 2000s
Yep.
to where it's like you and friends.
And friends.
And so it's like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, with all these, with you on there, it's like, also, it's like seeing you out and about. It's like, and I've seen you at charity events and things to where we've bumped into each other. It's like, you stay in shape by like still like singing and dancing and doing all this stuff, and with these kind of tours, right?
Oh man, well, I think at my age there's no such thing as in shape anymore. You're just staying above the ground, kind of, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
We've got BB Mac, we have LFO, O-Town, Ryan Cabrera. We've had Smash Mouth. We've had Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. We've had The Calling.
Yeah.
All for One guys. We've had all these 98 Degrees, DJ Script. It goes on and on, but it's all like this throwback kind of thing where we all go out and you do the hits and you look out and especially for me, I go out and do a bunch of NSYNC stuff and NSYNC's not doing NSYNC stuff, so you don't get the full version. Maybe I'm the Wish version or the Temu version or whatever it is, but you still can hear, NSYNC and hear the songs and enjoy what we do.
But I mean, also, and I don't think you give yourself enough credit on this, Chris, but I mean, you bring so much to the table. You've got so many songs to choose from. And just like you said with the other bands on there, it's like the old, like back in the 50s when they used to do it with the bands to where everybody played their hits.
Yeah.
Dude, you couldn't play all your hits. You guys had so many hits from, 95 to the early 2000s. You got to be kind of selective. That's got to be hard.
Well, I mean, I think, we get to the big ones, most of the big ones. And it's hard to tell. Sometimes, I kind of want to throw out an unknown song, but the kids usually all know them, especially since it's been 20 some years since we've put out our own EP, So I think it's just fun. It's fun to be up there. It's fun to do those songs. It's fun to play the hits because you look out and you see, like I said, you see the kids that are like, man, I'm not going to get to see NSYNC or I get to see O-Town, I get to see Ryan, whoever you're there to see, you get to see this whole plethora of music. And, it's like watching TRL back in the day where you've got the countdown and you're going from 10 to 1.
But also, we all grew up with that music, and I think certainly, with your music and everything, and with the other bands, everybody attaches memories to those.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's nice to, come and bring your kids and everything, and bring family members, because you have memories tied to those songs.
Yeah, and that's part of it too, and that's what I understand. I mean, you think about your sense of smell as your biggest memory trigger. And then your sense of, I don't know, maybe sight might be number 2, but sound is up there. And,
oh, yeah.
And you know how many times like you hear a song that you haven't heard in years.
Right.
And it comes on and it almost brings you right back. Like, how many girls that broke up with me or whatever that I hear a song and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, oh, at least it doesn't hurt as bad now,
Right.
But all that music really does bring up a certain point in your life and you can go right back there and go, man, I remember when I had my little 83 Mazda pickup truck and was driving down listening to the Cranberries or whatever it was, it brings you right back there.
It really does, and it was interesting too, getting ready for the show, and certainly I knew your music career and the founding of NSYNC and all this, but you came from humble beginnings, early in life, but also from a family of musicians.
Yeah.
With your mom being a vocal coach, your grandmother in with opera, your uncles in bands, and so when
my aunts in bands,
yeah.
my grandfather was a touring band.
Right. And it's like that's a DNA that you can't get away from. And then what, in 6th grade is when you really kicked it in?
Yeah, 6th grade. So we started off, it was like my mom would do musicals and it was all church musicals and things like that. So we did all these church musicals. And then in 6th grade, I remember I went and auditioned for the high school production. I lived in Old City, Pennsylvania at the time. And I went for this high school production of Oliver Twist. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll get a Workhouse Gang guy or a Fagan's Gang, somebody. And they said, you're Oliver. And that, I was like, wait, that's pressure. And I started learning Oliver. I did, the musical. I remember going back to my school and kids were asking me for autographs and stuff. And I was like, that's all it takes? Like, this is insane. But that's when it really the bug bit me that I loved singing.
Right.
And it was a lot of musicals for a while, but it became...
I noticed that. Yeah. But also, lead roles. I mean, it's not like you were going, well, Chris is playing the tree. No.
Well, that was later in life, though. No. In high school, that's when the tree came into play. That's when I was, we have to give him something. But
no, but you were playing Oliver, man.
Yeah, but we had no money. So it's like we grew up in trailer parks and, we lived in this little shed behind this family at our church because we didn't have anywhere to go. So they let us stay there. And, you know, we had no money at all. So I couldn't go audition for show choir. I couldn't go audition for the musicals because I couldn't get back and forth to school. I had to either take the bus or, you know, there was no way I could get there. So I didn't get a lot of these roles, you know. But I worked my way through it. I did anything I could. I remember the first year when I didn't make show choir, I said, well, I'll be a show choir roadie. And basically just showed up, jingled the bells when they sang Jingle Bells, threw snow on them, moved the giant risers, and I was a little tiny, but I just wanted to be around it. And I think that really helped me later in life with my drive to get it done.
Well, and I think it did also because when you look at your career, and also you and I were talking before we came in the studio about your early career, you know, with the doo-wop bands, you know, and playing at Universal Orlando and all that kind of stuff, how that prepared you for later in life to where when you're a part of such a huge band, but it's all that preparation.
You know, the crazy part is the doo-wop stuff, I fell into it because I loved it. You know, it was all those harmonies, and I was still doing a cappella groups on the side. And that's what NSYNC kind of turned into. Because I was doing these a cappella groups, and I'd arrange all these, you know, different pieces of music, and I'd find everything from As Yet, Boys to Men, Take Six, you know, all these bands that were doing like the harmonies. And I'd arrange those, and we'd learn them, and we'd do them at coffee shops, or we'd do them wherever. But it was actually when I was doing the Christmas caroling. Christmas caroling, when I started doing the Christmas caroling, that's the one I think that still haunts me to this day. The doo-wop stuff helped me. The Christmas carols, every time Christmas rolls around, I'll sit down there and I'll go, I know every verse to this carol. They're like, I thought there was only one verse. I'm like, no. Wait till you get to the Yule logs.
And some of them are a little strange.
And they get really strange. But funny enough, I actually do it now at the Gaylord.
Oh, yeah.
Every year around Christmas time, I go up because a friend of ours knows that I used to do that.
That is so cool.
And they have these carolers up there, and I go up and carol with them.
Well, I got to bring up also, obviously, with JBJ opening, you know, on Broadway, you know, with John Bon Jovi's place, and you and I were talking about it. What a great facility, and you're part of that.
Oh, I'm so blessed to be
what
a part
venue.
of that. It's such a great venue. It's so awesome. We were talking the way they have the stages everywhere. It's a musician's venue.
Totally.
But it's also, it's like Kid Rock's. It's John Bon Jovi's. It's like everybody comes to Nashville. You're going to get the honky tonks. You're going to get the amazing honky tonks. And it is a honky tonk. But it's also got that rock feel to it.
Totally.
Like I watch the people that come in there, and you can see a lot of them, they're dressing like they were going to a show in the 80s. And they're ready to have a good time.
Well, and I got to bring this up too, because you won't, but it's like, but you do a lot of charity work here. And you know, I know with the Folds of Honor, with the celebrity softball game, you had a slight injury that kind of went viral.
Yeah, I feel so dumb
You
about
gave
that.
for the team.
Yeah, but I feel dumb. You know, it's like, I think, so it happened in like the third inning, I think, or so. And they're like, yeah, well, you're so cool. You didn't tell anybody. I'm like, yeah, I didn't tell anybody because I was embarrassed. I was like, that's all I need. I played in a football game the week before. I'm fine. Now I play in a...
And you're an athlete.
I am an athlete. And I play in the Folds of Honor thing and break my hand. I just keep hiding it into the beer bucket, trying to ice it off and make it. But at Folds of Honor, they're so amazing. And I've known about this softball game for, you know, since we've been here. Since 2017, 16. And always wanted to play in it. And this was my first year playing in it. And if they don't invite me back, I mean, I'll come in a night suit. You know, I'll be prepared so I don't get injured.
You're not just going to be ringing the bells. You're
no,
going to be
and
back.
I'm playing catcher again too.
You were awesome.
For sure.
I saw the footage. I mean, we aired it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You know, I also you're on the advisory board now.
Yep.
For Notes for Notes.
Notes for Notes.
Yeah.
That was big. You know, they're so amazing over there. We went a few months ago. We went to one of the Boys and Girls Clubs in the area, just to give them some troll stuff, you know, kind of.
That's so cool.
Yeah, give them a little taste of what I do, talk to them and tell them that, you know, no matter where you come from, like, you know, my humble beginnings, I came from way worse than where you guys are right now, and you know, I've done something. But when we were there, we saw the Notes for Notes studio that they had there. And I said, I need another meeting with these guys immediately. And we met with them, and they have such an amazing thing that they do. And we're trying to work all this stuff and see how I can help them. And, you know, I'll be there anytime they need me there. It's so nice to have that opportunity for kids. I mean, that's something I would have died for as a kid, even just to find somebody that had a guitar that worked.
Right.
You know, it's really cool what they do.
Such an awesome way to give back. Well, I want to make sure, I mean, with everything you've got going on, you know, with Name Drop, your podcast, vodcast, and then obviously with Pop 2000s, working on some new songs too, so we never know what's going to come out in the future. Website-wise, social media, Chris, where does everybody need to go, all the viewers?
It's all my I am C Kirkpatrick on whatever. It's either, you know, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I don't know, MySpace, is that? Can I?
I don't know.
I am C Kirkpatrick on
but on the
MySpace.
TikTok too, you can also
Well, I am, but here's my picture.
Can you also like teach some of like the dance moves and stuff too, like from Pop 2000s, like on TikTok?
No, I don't think they need. Well, now after Deadpool, I think Deadpool kind of crushed.
It's like
them,
the ultimate.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching that and
I'm
listening
watching
to
and
it.
learning it again. I'm like, oh yeah, he does
like,
get that
yeah,
part.
you have to like, reach out to Ryan Reynolds and go, hey, you know, want to come hang out? Maybe show some of those moves.
Ding, name drop.
Which is a great show. And congratulations, second season, also with Pop 2000s going on and all the charity work. And I mean, you're a Nashvilleian now. I know you're raised in Florida, but you're a Nashvilleian now,
Means
Chris.
a lot. Means a lot. I love this town.
Well, I'll tell you what, and this town loves you. And congratulations on everything. More big things coming. Chris Kirkpatrick, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.